At welcome to the first episode of NAPSI Talakayan sa 12, brought to you by the National Anti-Poverty Commission in partnership with the Philippine Information Agency. So before we give the floor sa ating mga media partners, let us hear first opening messages, opening statements mula sa ating mga panelists. Let's start mula po dun sa dulo, from the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, Sir Bienvenido Solano Jr., ang Chief ng Regional Operations Divisions ng TESDA 12. Sir Bien.
Yes, good morning to each and everyone, especially to our media practitioners, sa mga kasamaan ko po dito, especially kay Secretary Sec, to the Director of NAPSI, Ma'am Ana, representative of CHED, DepEd, as well as NCIP. So, we are here today, para malaman nyo talaga kung ano yung aming programa in relation to giving, especially pag sinasabi kasi nating TESDA, concentrated tayo sa training, Training to trabaho. So, ganun talaga yan sa amin. Hindi lang porke tapos na ng training, na-assess na siya, na-certified, tapos na yung role namin. Hindi po doon nag-i-end. Mag-i-end po siya doon sa trabaho para at least ma-alleviate man lang sa poor yung ating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat po.
We have from Commission on Higher Education, Sir Marvin Alagbay, ang kanilang Education Supervisor 2.
Once again, good morning po sa lahat. Of course, our courtesies to, especially to the lead convener, Secretary, Ma'am Ana, and to our partner, representatives of our partner agencies, and to our media practitioners. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. On behalf of the Commission on Higher Education Region 12 and our Regional Director, who is currently in an equally important commitment, we are very happy to be part of this partnership and dialogue. We know that higher education is an important part, especially as we achieve social inclusivity and community empowerment. Kami po sa CHED, we are supervising higher education institutions, at the same time, degree programs aligned to implement programs to support community development and to ensure poverty alleviation within our community. And also, it's a good thing to note that our involvement here is our commitment as well towards the potential programs that we'll be crafting in the future with our potential partner agencies, especially with our goals towards strengthening and empowering indigenous communities through inclusive education. Once again, maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much. Punta naman po tayo dito muna. From the Department of Education, we have Sir Regan Dagadas, ang EPS for ng DepEd Region 12.
Magandang umaga sa lahat. On behalf of our DepEd Regional Director, Carlito Rocafort, I'm representing him in this forum. And we thank NAPSI and everyone involved in organizing this activity. This platform is very important for us in the basic education sector to expand our reach and network with government line agencies, especially with the National Commission and National Anti-Poverty Commission with our Secretary, Honorable Secretary Santos. Thank you, sir, for involving us. In DepEd, we have Indigenous Peoples Education Program, and we always believe that this inclusive education program of the Department of Education will transform or help us in transforming the lives of our indigenous IP communities, and we are providing this education, culturally relevant education, right there at the doorsteps of every ICC or indigenous cultural communities in the region. All ICCs have been provided with this culturally sensitive education through IP Ed education with, of course, our division offices in the field. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Na-mention na po, IP Education, punta na tayo. It's a pleasure to have with us ang Regional Director ng National Commission on Indigenous Peoples or NCIP Region 12, Attorney Adolf Ryan Lantion. Sir?
Okay, hello. Few flafos, sabi nga ni Buging kanina, few flafos, you lafos, mupian salam. So mas lamang ako sa'yo ng isa. So anyways, my courtesies to Secretary Lope, no, nakita na naman tayo sa Bapara. And welcome to Region 12. This is not your first time naman, no? This is not your first time. Pero again, welcome to my fellow government workers and to our media partners. Good morning po. Although I am here representing the indigenous peoples of Region 12, no, this is a topic close to my heart po kasi because I'm an elementary education graduate. Had I not passed the bar and became a regional director at that, I would have been a teacher. Natakot lang po ako, baka makapatay ako ng bata. Kaya nagabugas siya na lang daan ba. So thankfully, napamasa naman po. And sir from DepEd, alam po niya kapag education, minsan naiya ako kasi pupunta ako doon, parang yung kahit busy na masyado, ako talaga mapag-usap because sabi ko nga, parang interest ko talaga, gusto ko talaga to education na to. So when I was invited by Buging, when she went to our office, sabi ko talagang ibakante niyo yung schedule ko kasi gusto kong makigulo. Gusto kong makigulo doon sa usapan dito nga sa inclusivity ng IP natin, ng indigenous peoples dito sa usaping education in as much yung na-discuss natin, sir, ba, yung mga comments natin from the ground. Although, I am not here to comment on the programs, pero I believe meron naman po din tayong mabibigay na magagandang input po sa discussion natin.
Thank you very much, RD. Next po, si Ma'am Ana Cañeda, ang Director ng Basic Sector Coordinating Council, Region 12.
May buntag sa atong tanan and again kami mapasalamaton kami nga we are being hosted by the Philippine Information Agency of Region 12 and of course besides that we have a lineup of experts and not only education itself being one of the fundamental rights of the poor, this is particularly culturally responsive and inclusive education, and this is for our indigenous peoples and the communities, our brothers and sisters in the tribes, no, where we feel they need also to be looked at and focused on in this in the aspect of education as a right, and we. As the National Anti-Poverty Commission here with our very own secretary and lead convener, Sec Lope, we are here also to strengthen collaboration with the interagency partners and also like leveraging resources now that we know we are, I think, on the advantage, especially for education and maximize this advantage for our indigenous peoples communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last but not the least, definitely not the least, ang lead convener ng National Anti-Poverty Commission. Let us hear a message from Secretary Lope B. Santos III.
Nagpupugay po tayo dito sa unang talakayan sa 12 na inihatid sa inyo ng National Anti-Poverty Commission at ng Philippine Information Agency. Kasama natin dito ngayon ang Department of Education, National Commission on Indigenous Peoples. These two agencies are the statutory members of the National Anti-Poverty Commission. NCIP is a partner of our indigenous people sectors. Department of Education is the partner of our children sector. And we expanded the membership of NAPSI to TESDA and CHED. No? They are partners of our youth and student sector. Kaya yun pong ating unang talakayan sa 12 ay importante sa National Anti-Poverty Commission sapagkat ito yung sinasabi namin one of the fundamental rights, relevant quality education along with decent work, decent housing, adequate food, and highest attainable standard of health. Natutuwa po tayo na nitong nakaraang mga linggo ay nakita natin at the national level ang komprehensibong pag-uusap ng CHED, TESDA at DepEd para sa edukasyon ng ating bansa. At dito sa 12, nakikita natin na magkakasama ang mga ahensyang ito. This is what we are calling the convergence. And now, we are focusing on indigenous peoples. That's why kasama po natin ang IP sector at ang NCIP. And for the information of everyone, the National Anti-Poverty Action Agenda has defined its focus areas and focus sector. And one of those is the indigenous peoples communities. Together with farming communities, fisher folk communities, geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, conflict areas, and disaster-prone areas. Dito po ang mga sektor at komunidad na tinututukan ng National Anti-Poverty Commission. At yung convergence natin ngayon para sa pagbibigay ng edukasyon, serbisyong edukasyon para sa ating mga indigenous peoples communities ay lubhang mahalaga at nakapokus doon sa ating poverty reduction program.
Okay, thank you very much. Let us now open the floor for questions mula sa ating mga media partners. Sino una? Sige, pasan nyo na lang yung mic. Ha? Diyan na lang kayo sa upuan nyo.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, ma'am and sir. I am Queenie Main Almeida. I am an intern from Top Gun Radio Coronadal. So I have two questions. I have general question, and second, I have a question about the policy, impact orientation. The first question that I have here, this is a very general question, so this can be answered by any of you, ma'am, sir. So for the first one, why is inclusive education important in empowering indigenous communities, especially here in Region 12? So bakit po, bakit education when we talk about indigenous communities here in South Cotabato, Region 12?
Kana nga ba ako ang unang sasagot dito, sir? Somehow, parang alam ko na din ba na ganyan ba? Tapos, sir, intern daw, sir. Babawi ang mga estudyante natin ngayon sa mga kuwan ba? So anyways, ma'am, why do we need inclusive education? Yun yung question po. This is in line with the thrust of the government na no one left behind. Yun po talaga, no one left behind. Dapat po talaga walang naiiwan. Another thing is education is the greatest equalizer po kasi. Parang kapag may education ka, hindi magmamatter, you have a chance ba na ma-uplift yung socio-economic status ng family mo, ng community mo. Yun yung inisip talaga namin dito ba. That's why we need education. Ang issue po ng NCAP dito is, pasensya po ha, mag-open na lang ako sa, ang issue dito ng NCAP po is, what is education ba sa IPs? Kasi although we do have iPad, I believe we already had this conversation last time ba, na meron na pong iPad. Sinabi may iPad na, tapos taken into account na kung anong culture ng IPs. Pero minsan po kasi hindi nakukuha yung the sundry ba, yung the sundry matters. Anong sundry matters? Yung mga nakapalibot na circumstances dun sa IP na para nag-gatekeep sa access nila dun sa education. A very good example is, kasi sabi nga, inclusivity, so dapat kasama lahat. I'll give an example. Sa tertiary education sa mga state use natin, dapat sa mga may hirap, may access na, libre na ang tuition natin ba? But if the student is staying in a geographically isolated and disadvantaged area, na ang pamasahe pa lang, 1,500 na, one way pa lang po. One way pa lang po. Hindi po ba't nagiging issue yun siya dun sa inclusivity? Kasali ka dito, pero yung pamasahe mo, 1,500, pababa pa lang. Yung nandito sa flat, nandito sa city natin, ang pamasahe niya 20 pesos. Actually, sobra na ang 20 pesos. Sobra ng 20 pesos. Question, nare-resolve ba natin inclusivity na yon? Another thing is, sabi nga natin, inclusivity. Pasensya, the question is, why is it important ba? Pero tinitira ko na yung concept natin ng inclusivity. Sinasabi natin, inclusivity, libre. Libre ang tuition pag tertiary education. Pero isang estudyante who came from an ancestral domain na araw-araw na ginawa ng Diyos kamote sa umaga, kamote sa tanghali, kamote sa gabi. Tapos isang estudyante na graduate ng, let's just say, Notre Dame of Coronadal, na once a week nakakakain sa Jollibee. Once a week nakakain sa Jollibee, 3 beses sa isang araw. And you will let them take a common entrance exam sa isang state university. Sa palagay po ninyo, sino po yung papasa? Sino po yung papasa? So meaning, yes, kasali ka dito, pero merong gate. Kasi may charter yan sila, state university, so they get to dictate kung sino talaga yung papasok. Good for other offices, good for other state universities like MSU, USM. Meron silang special consideration sa IPs natin. But question din, okay ba yung special consideration na yun? What do I mean by that? O sige, mag-remedial para pumasa dito ba? Pero yun po ba talaga yung goal natin? Na parang bigyan sila ng special treatment, nabigyan sila ng special treatment. Ang nangyayari po kasi kapag more often than not, pasensya po ha, I may be speaking against my clients here, pero kapag binigyan kasi natin ng special treatment ang IPs, pasensya po, nandito po si Fulong Jonathan Imba, palagi kami nag-aaway sa opisina nito, pero close man po may noon. So ingunan kapag bigyan po natin sila ng special consideration, minsan po yung special consideration na yon, na supposedly temporary lang, nagiging permanent na minsan tumatatak sa utak nila na special talaga kami. Dapat palagi nyo kami bigyan. I will give you a very good anecdote, ma'am. There was this one workshop in Manila. Marami pong in-invite na mga leaders from ancestral domain ba. Tanong po ng isang speaker namin doon who was a graduate of University of the Philippines. Sabi nila dito, in as much ang topic natin ngayon is inclusive education vis-a-vis poverty alleviation, di ba? Poverty reduction. Sabi niya, nagtataka po kami, bakit ang IPs po natin binigyan na po ng ancestral domain? Lupa po yan. At binigyan na po namin ng IPMR. Representative po, politiko po yun na nakaupo sa ating sanggunian. Pero bakit hanggang ngayon, mahirap pa po kayo? Yun ang tanong niya sa mga IPs po. Ang sagot po natin doon, because of education. Kasi kulang po ng education. They don't know what to do with their ancestral domains. They don't know what to do. Kung kapag nakaupo na sa IPMR, hindi din alam kung anong gagawin. So isa po yun sa mga issues na kailangan po nating ma-resolve. Yes, it is inclusive. Pero yung inclusivity po na yun po ba talaga, na-address po ba talaga yun yung word na inclusivity? Thank you.
Hindi ako makatulog kung hindi ako makarejoin. Yes, thank you, Ma'am Queenie, for that question. In DepEd, we always believe, specific to DepEd Region 12, kasali lahat, kasama lahat, at para sa lahat ang education strategies and programs natin, especially for the indigenous IP communities. And we always believe in DepEd Region 12 that inclusive education is our strategic initiative and strategic response to empower our indigenous cultural communities. 10 years ago or in the past, we do not have school heads from the IP communities. We do not also a big number of IP teachers hired, but nowadays we see them joining the public schools as teachers, and there are some who have been appointed as full-blooded IPs, helping us deliver culturally sensitive education for our IP children. And this inclusive education program of the department is important because they believe that inclusive education is a strategic response to empower our IP communities. And we are seeing now a number of professionals coming from the different ICCs across Region 12, joining the government sector, joining us in the Department of Education to teach our IP children. Though we cannot address poverty in overnight, but we believe that in the long term, inclusive education will always help us transform and empower our indigenous communities in the region. Thank you.
Sige po, maraming salamat for the question. I also concur with the previous speakers, especially on the definition of what really is inclusive education. So yun nga, before we can demand on the importance of inclusive education, dapat alam po natin ano po yung gusto nating mangyari with the inclusive education that we have in mind. So that is equity over equality. That means that we cannot provide the same amount of resources. No? But of course, we are doing more than others, especially for the IP community that we have here in Region 12, on the geographical location, on the barriers that we have in mind. Of course, this is to ensure that there are non-discriminatory factors in terms of the guidelines and policies that we develop. And that is our part, no? That should be our commitment as government agencies and as organization, to also make sure that there is a visibility in our IP communities. Because through visibility, they are able to, para magkakaroon sila ng moral in terms of their involvement and their contribution in the community. So yan din po ang isa sa mga important programs or the commitment of higher education. That we want to ensure that higher education and academic community must move from using inclusion as a compliance, but inclusion as a commitment. Thank you po.
Okay, so for the last question, last na ni siya, sir. So, so we're talking about inclusivity. So inclusivity-wise, and also because you guys mentioned about opportunities. So now my question is, what scholarship opportunities are available for our IP students in Region 12, and how would they contribute how do they contribute to inclusive education? This is for our IP learners po. Thank you.
Test daw na.
Ako na lang muna
Go,
mauna.
Sir Ben.
Lahat naman sa amin dito, especially sa education sector, has its own scholarship programs. And also for TESDA, we also have our scholarship programs, not only intended for the IPs, because IP is one of the members of our special clients. No? We also cater those PDLs, yung mga victims of wars, yung victims of calamities, mga decommissioned combatant, and others. No? So we are catering scholarship. Kung problema, nasabi ni Director kanina na yung problema sa pamasahe, sa amin kasi sa TESDA, we have the so-called mobile training delivery, which is the students will stay on their communities at ang pumupunta lang doon ay yung aming trainer. No? At the same time, not only that, they are also given an allowance of 160 per day, depende sa number of days for that particular training. No? So, yun na nga, yung mga scholarship natin, sa part ng TESDA ay kami po, o yung TESDA po ang lumalapit, no? Pumupunta mismo sa community para mabigyan sila doon ng training, at the same time, para matulungan sila na maahon sa kahirapan. No? So, through trainings po yan siya. At the same time, since scholar ang treatment sa kanila, wala silang babayaran, no? Kahit a single centavo. And even on the national certification, yung tinatawag naming national assessment, yung assessment na tinatawag, libre po lahat-lahat. No? As long that you belong to a scholarship program na in-offer po ng TESDA.
Sige po. Thank you, sir. And for higher education naman po, of course, this is one of the mandates of our commission. So we have different scholarship programs under the CHED. So meron po tayong regular scholarship that is a merit program. So that is a CHED scholarship program. And we also have the tertiary education subsidy under the UNIFAST. So for the UNIFAST naman po, one of the priority programs or students naman po doon are those students under the listahanan coming from the DSWD. So one of the strategic initiatives po siguro na pwede natin gawin is to ensure that the students listed in the listahanan of the DSWD are indeed the qualified and the most deserving students, and mostly must include the vulnerable sector, including the IT. And for the CHED Merit Scholarship Program naman po, this includes application po kasi ito considering the general weighted average of the student and the income of the parents. So good thing about this is if you are under the marginalized sector and the special groups, no, including the IPs, the solo parent, the PWDs, meron po agad additional 5 points para sa mga applicants under that sector. So that includes the IP. And then for the priority programs naman po, priority program din po natin yung mga gustong mag-aral on IP education, on IP studies, and even the Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts and Community Development. So if you can see, hindi po nawawala yung care natin or yung pag-i-include natin, no? When we talk about inclusive education, pag-i-include natin sa mga special groups including the IT sectors.
Okay, in the case of NCIP naman, it's not really a scholarship program but more of an educational assistance. Educational assistance to address yung sinabi natin kanina ba na paano yung pamasahe, paano yung boarding house, paano yung bayad dun sa libro na bibilhin or photocopy na ganyan ba. We have the EAP, yung Educational Assistance Program natin. Initially, that was 10,000 pesos every semester available for deserving indigenous people, deserving IP students, mag-apply yan sila. But because of the assistance of Senator Amy Marcos, last year na-increase siya ng 12,500. We also have the merit-based scholars naman. Ibig sabihin yung grades nila, kailangan, for now, kailangan 85 and above, pero there's a move to have it lowered to 80% ba, especially if you're taking up law school, engineering, may mga ganyan talaga na mahirap i-maintain yung mga grades na ganyan. So ang move is baba sa 80%. That's 25,000 per semester. Malaking tulong na, pero kulang pa rin. Alam po ninyo, lahat po, most of us, nag-college dito, 10,000, medyo short yun ng konti. Kapag may thesis ka pa lang dyan, ubus na yun. So sabi nga, education assistance nang yun. Another program po namin is sa mga memorandum of agreements po natin. If we have partners, if we have proponents who will enter into an ancestral domain para sa mga projects nila, like mining, kung ano po yan, yung mga proponent po namin, we require them via a memorandum of agreement na magbigay po ng scholarships. A very good example, hindi ko na lang po sabihin ng lugar, hindi ko na sabihin kung sino po yung partner natin. Kasi ang sinabi ko, more often than not po, kapag may humihingi na educational assistance sa amin, ang hinihingi po na ang course nila is education or police, I am an education graduate po. Nothing against education and criminology as a course. Pero minsan po, natutulungan lang po kasi niyan yung tao, yung estudyante at saka yung immediate family lang niya. Ako, I would prefer po sana na mga courses na may potential to uplift the socio-economic status of the community. Number one of which is siguro agricultural engineering. Second is environmental planning. Kapag mining area yan siya, geology or kahit mining engineering. Mga ganun po. So I approach a particular partner. Sinabihan ko, pwede po bang kausapin niyo yung president ninyo na magbigay sa amin and i-charge niyo sa CSR? Thankfully, na-grant po. Hindi ko na lang po sabihin kasi we are currently headhunting. Sabi niya, initial stage pa lang po. So 5 students lang yung kaya nilang ibigay ngayon. So sabi ko, highly technical courses ang bibigay nila, scholarship, yung tuition, bahay. Sabi nga nila, pag-aralin din namin sa Manila. Sabi ko, kaya ba baka Bisaya tong akong estudyante dire yung magtug Manila, malumos, wakabalo kung asa ang Quiapo, wakabalo kung asa ang Ateneo, wakabalo, baka maligaw lang yung IP student namin doon. Pero pinag-usapan pa po yan. And what's good is they will also pay for the first stake. Yung sa board ba. So ibig sabihin, hindi lang po yung tuition, pero pati dun sa board, kapag hindi pinala dun sa board, yung sa second take sila na. Pero yun po kasi nakikita natin na hindi lang tuition ang problema eh. Hindi lang tuition ang problema, pati po yung mga sundry expenses. So, we'll try to replicate that with our other partners. Currently, we're hand-hunting. Kung interested po kayo, lapit lang po sa akin, pero kasi specific to one municipality lang yun ba? Currently, tumatawag kami sa ASDS ng DepEd. Nag-headhunt kami ng mga estudyante na alam naming kasi initial so dapat talaga successful yung initial implementation na yun para the possibility of replication mas mataas po.
For basic education, from kindergarten to senior high school, it's more than a scholarship program because education is free in public schools. So for senior high school, we also have specialized courses, technical specialization courses with, of course, with TESDA as our partner in providing scholarship opportunities for our students and get the necessary skills that they would like to have.
Okay, thank you. Next question, reminder lang sa ating media friends, one question lang tayo para mapagbigyan po lahat. Okay, sir.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and especially to our resource persons. My name is Andres Palmarangal from Top Gun Radio Coronadal. I address my question to Secretary Lopez Santos III. You mentioned a while ago, South Cotabato was the lowest number poverties in all Region 12. Can I ask Secretary, what is the factor? Why is it that South Cotabato is lowest than compared to the other region in Region 12? Province, I mean.
Well, very clear yung study ng pandito ng PSA. Una ay agriculture. Dun sa agriculture, sumunod dyan yung generation of employment and ang priority din ng ating probinsya, particularly si Governor Tamayo, ay creation of employment and livelihood linking the business establishment to the residents of South Cotabato na binibigyan ng prioridad sa mga establishmento dito na ang magkaroon ng trabaho ay ang mga taga South Cotabato. And of course, yung education. Ipinupus ng ating gobernador yung free education. At ginagawa na niya ngayon, ini-expand pa. Plus of course, yung free hospitalization. So yan yung mga elemento ng, yan ang measure ng poverty. Kaya pagka yan ay naipoprovide mo sa iyong mga mamamayan, talagang mababa yung iyong poverty incidence kumpara sa iba. So I think the province of South Cotabato is addressing the multi-poverty index. That's why when the PSA measured the poverty situation, mas mababa na yung kanyang poverty incidence kumpara sa iba.
Alright, last question, sir. To the NCIP Attorney Lanchon, how does NCIP ensure that education program respect the indigenous culture, identity, and rights? Attorney.
Constant po yung usapan namin, particularly nung initial stages po ng IPED curriculum. Nag-invite po talaga kami ng nag-invite at DepEd ng mga elders namin to sit down. Talagang pinag-uusapan po. Meron pa pong mga comments pero it is being addressed by DepEd naman po. Wala naman po kaming kuan ba. Ang sa amin lang, kasi sabi ko nga, pinapag-usapan po namin, sabi they are indigenizing. The word is parang ini-indigenize nila yung mga topics fit dun sa cultural community, dun sa area po. Pero sabi ko nga, minsan kasi yung targets natin, similar targets. I don't know, I honestly don't know kung ano po ang maganda. Hindi ko po alam kung ano. This is not a one-size-fits-all solution po kasi. Kasi merong ibang community na para mas gusto nila, ay hindi, bigyan mo kami ng education na bagay na kaya namin makikompete sa iba, sa mainstream. May ganyan po. Pero meron din naman pong mga elders na gusto nila, hindi, ibigay mo ang education na nararapat para do sa IPs. Kung sa amin ang ancestral domain namin is for farming, dapat ang ituro mo sa amin, farming. So kaya nga po, syempre, DepEd being sa kanila yung top-down ang policies nila, more often than not, parang yung hindi. Parang ito, pare-pares tayo ng targets dito, pare-pares tayo ng competencies na kailangan tamaan ng lahat. Hindi talaga tayo pwedeng yung tailor fit. Pero sabi ko pa po, yun yung mga naririnig ko po na, yun po yung mga naririnig ko na comments from the ground. Ano po ang maganda? I honestly don't know kung ano po yung maganda. Pero pursuant dun po sa right to self-governance ng indigenous peoples, I would champion na kung ano po yung gusto talaga ng community, yun po sana yung ibigay natin.
Good morning pa ba? Yan, good morning sa ating mga panelists. I'm Joy Kawayan, Combateer of FEBC DXKI. Kumusta naman po yung mga teachers natin sa mga IP communities? Kasi kung makikita mo sa Facebook, nagbabiyahe na lubak-lubak yung daan, nagmumotor. Grabe yung risk ng ating mga teachers as they go into the field, no? And minsan nagsistay pa sila doon sa area for a week. Minsan naman hindi nakakauwi. Tapos may situation pa na bumabaha. So, di ba, nalalagay din sa risk pati yung mga estudyante natin, tsaka mga teachers natin. So, what support? Ano ba, doble ba yung sweldo ng teacher pag mga risky areas sila? And in terms of yung reinforcement ng learning doon sa area, kasi iba rin kasi ang level ng pagtuturo sa mga IP communities.
Yes, una, I would like to share sa ating media practitioner that our Department of Education is also considering yung localization. That means in hiring teachers, may ano na rin doon sa kung sino yung doon sa area, yung mga resident ng local communities or doon sa place. That's one part of the consideration. And in terms of providing support to our teachers deployed in the GIDA areas or in areas, hard to reach areas, mga schools in the hinterlands. Of course, we actually provide support with them. Some of them are having yung they travel once a week lang, and the school has established yung parang dorm for the teachers para hindi siya araw-araw. May mga school kaming na-visit na ganon, or teachers are just traveling once a week para hindi risky at hassle yung kanilang travel na daily. Number two, DepEd is also prioritizing hiring ng mga IP teachers natin na mga qualified in the Registry of Qualified Applicants. In fact, nabanggit ko kanina, given yung data natin, marami ng mga IP teachers natin, full-blooded IP teachers from different ICC who are already hired as teacher, permanent teacher. And the deployment ay doon sa kung saan sila nanggaling na community. Usually, ganun yung ginagawa ng mga superintendent natin. If they came from Blaan community or sa Manobo community or sa Tibuli, doon sila i-deploy. So, they can also contribute to for the delivery of culturally responsive education, especially for the language issues na kailangan natin in delivering the K-12 curriculum.
Meron din pong DepEd 50, nag-usap kami dito sir. DepEd 50 parang may additional points kapag may mag-apply talaga sa isang school within an ancestral domain and it so happened that the applicant is sa Blaan, sabihin natin ancestral domain po ng Blaan. Tapos yung applicant can speak Blaan and who also happens to be a resident of the place. May additional points po siya, so yung probability po na siya yung matanggap, medyo mataas. I've already heard that problem. Ma'am, totoo po yan kasi my older sister is also a public school teacher. Ang nangyari po, na-assign po siya doon sa may Marilog sa Davao City. Umaalis siya ng bahay Monday ng umaga, Monday ng hapon na siya makapasok, pero nasa bahay na siya ng Friday ng hapon. Ibig sabihin, Friday ng umaga, umuwi na siya. So meaning 3 araw lang siya nag-i-stay doon. Ang nakakatawa kasi allowed daw ng principal. Parang ganyan ba? But that was long before. Kuwan pa po ako, high school pa po ako noon. Maganda po yung DepEd 50 because it was an attempt at a solution to address that. to address that ba? Yung sa problema po natin na yung sa bukid, yung mga sasakyan, yung mga ganyan, totoo po yan. Kaya ang sabi nga natin kanina, yung accessibility po. Pero siguro dapat DPWH ang na-invite dito, no? Para kasi sila po talaga ang makakasagot doon. Pero minsan kasi ang sagot nila hindi kasi national road. Barangay road yan siya. Tapos kapag sabihin na, pag barangay road, maliit ang allocation sa amin. May mga ganyan po na mga sagot ba, maliit po. So, it's medyo mahirap po siyang i-address ng mga people po na nandito sa panel. Although I do think na yung mga teachers po natin, meron po kanya-kanyang attempt at a solution din sila na ginagawa. Ang ginagawa po kasi nila minsan, ginauyab nila tong habal-habal driver para makalibre sila ng pamasahe. This is a joke, ma'am, pero marami po. Tingnan niyo po, marami po mga teachers na hindi taga doon, pero nagre-report doon sa mga areas na yun. Tanungin niyo sino yung asawa nila. Kadalasan, hindi naman kadalasan, pero yun nga po, ginawa nila para makatipid ako ng pamasahe. So ganun po, there's an attempt at a solution din po. Kanya-kanyang attempt lang po.
Mag-contribute ako sa discussion. I'm a graduate of Industrial Education and I came from Department of Education and I'm also former scholar of Department of Education and Culture. Next pa nun, kaya ako po ay nakalubog sa education sector. And for indigenous peoples, mayroong programa, ang DepEd, na kailangan nating balikan at ipagpatuloy yung last mile school. No? The last mile school are those schools in the indigenous peoples areas on geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas na ang target nito ay magtatayo ng eskwelahan with satellite, with solar, para meron siyang accessibility. You know. But natutuwa po tayo, meron tayong mga matataas ang commitment ng mga teacher na itinuturing nila yung edukasyon ay bukasyon. No? Kaya sila ay willing na mag-travel mula dun sa bahay nila papunta dun sa bundok at tatawid ng ilog. No? Merong mga sitwasyon dun sa ibang lugar na yung mga elementary pa lang, dahil walang eskwelahan dun sa kanila, dahil gusto nila makapag-aral, nagdo-dorm na grade 4 pa lang, nagdo-dorm na dun sa bayan at dun ipinagpapatuloy yung pag-aaral kasi hanggang grade 4 lang yung eskwelahan dun sa kanilang komunidad. No? Kaya meron pong ganung sitwasyon at ang dadaanan pa rin nila, hindi kalsada, ilog. Ilog pa rin yung kanilang lalakaran at doon po talaga yung sitwasyon. No? At siguro ito yung ina-address ngayon ng DepEd bukod doon sa pagbibigay ng priority doon sa IP teacher at pagbibigay ng priority doon sa localized hiring of teacher kung saan LGU nandun yung teacher ay ito ay malaki ng pagkakataon na magkaroon ng konting equalization. And another na baka pwedeng pagtuunan ng pansin ng NCIP, ng DepEd, kasama yung TESDA, ay yung Alternative Learning Systems, no? Yung ALS. At nang sa gayon, yung mga may edad na hindi nakatapos ng pag-aaral, ay magkaroon pa ng pagkakataon na makatapos ng pag-aaral at magkaroon kaagad ng skills. No? Yung maging functional literacy. At syempre yung SHED naman ay meron din silang programa on equivalency program na baka rin ito pwedeng ma-avail ng mga indigenous peoples na matatalino pero hindi nakatapos ng pag-aaral na yung kanilang lifelong learning can be considered as a bachelor degree. So, meron pong ganon ang CHED at meron silang mga accredited schools. Ang tawag doon ay equivalency program. Na yung lifelong learning ninyo nung nandun sa community, hindi ka man nakatapos, pero yung experience mo sa governance, patagal ka sa gobyerno, they can be considered as a equivalent course at magkakaroon ka lang ng, I understand, 1-year residency program and you can graduate a bachelor degree. O kung kaya mo pa, hanggang masteral degree. Thank you.
For info lang, sa DXKI po, Sir, FEBC, we partnered with DepEd for ALS on Air. So pwede yung mga indigenous people communities natin makinig dun sa program para ma-educate din po sila.
Good morning, panelist Neil Banjola of RMN Coronadal. Ang question kasi siguro para kay Sec Lope Santos. Sec, na-mention ni Department of Education, CHED, and Technical Educations, may mga iba't iba silang mga uri ng scholarship program para doon sa mga mag-aaral. So, paano po ba yung assurance natin, Sec, doon sa mga graduates, especially sa mga bachelor's degree graduates na makatrabaho agad, makahanap agad ng trabaho?
Well, kung titignan natin yung data ng employment, mataas yung employment rate natin ngayon, ano? More than 96% yung employment rate natin. So, hindi lang ito yung mga nakakatapos. Karamihan ng mga graduate, even Chad will agree on this, ay mataas po yung chance na mas merong makapagtrabaho kaagad kasi meron naman tayong labor market at yung TESDA ganun din. Pagka walang makitang trabaho dito, meron tayong 2.3 million migrant workers. No? Nakakapag-abroad din yung mga nakapagtapos kung walang makitang available dito o ayaw niya yung trabaho dito dahil iba yung sweldo dito, iba yung sweldo abroad. There are many opportunities for graduate students. At karamihan dyan, ngayon ay sila yung namimili, lalo na yung mga millennials ngayon. Pagka nag-graduate, marami silang opportunities. They even go to online jobs. No? Yung iba, ayaw nang magtrabaho sa opisina, pinipili nila. Marami na pong opportunities. At palagay ko yung mga naka-graduate ay halos na-absorb ng industry, businesses at yung hindi nagtatrabaho ay nag-i-start ng kanilang mga business.
If I may answer the question din po. Ganito po, i-rephrase ko lang yung question, sir. Ang tanong kasi, ano yung assurance? Pag nakagraduate na, ano yung assurance trabaho? Tama yung sinabi ni sir, marami po opportunity. Pero ang tanong ko po, paano kapag hindi nakapag-aral? So meaning, wala siya talagang chance. Wala talaga siyang chance. It's either you study or not. Kasi yung sinasabi ni sir, more often than not, open po yun sa nakagraduate. Alam po natin na hindi po talaga assured na pagka-graduate ng college, hindi na nga bachelor's degree ngayon ang labanan eh. Ang labanan ngayon, masteral na sir. Masteral na, doctorate na. Kailangan mas maganda ang, mas mataas ang educational qualification mo, mas malaki ang chance. Hindi po siya assurance. Pero kapag wala ka po nun, sure ako na wala kang laban. So, kailangan po talagang kunin mo yun para meron kang chance, meron kang potential na ma-hire ng kung ano man, kung ano po yung prospective employer mo.
Okay. Good afternoon sa ating panelist and good afternoon sa tanan. I am Bombo Rachel Lutang from Bombo Radyo Coronadal. My question is, we are talking about inclusive education. And paano pinoprotektahan ng inclusive education programs ang kultura, wika at identidad ng indigenous communities habang isinusulong ang modernong edukasyon po?
Nagtuturoan din parang school din ba no? Ikaw na lang. Nagtanong si ma'am, parang ganyan ba? Ganito po, in the case of NCIP po, we are in partnership with NCCA. We have yung SIK po, mga School of Indigenous Knowledge, may mga School of Living Traditions po tayo, mga highly specialized schools na for example dito po sa Lake Cebu, na meron po tayong SLT dyan na involved in weaving, sa chanting, sa brass making. So meaning meron naman po mga schools na ganyan. Dito po, this year, ang project po namin is dito sa may Magpet, Cotabato, ang Ubo Manubo po, parang sa kanila is revival of the, nakalimutan ko kung ano yung tela nila doon. Hindi Tinalak eh. Tinalak is South Cotabato, nakalimutan ko po. Pero revival po nung kuha nila kasi apparently doon po sa Magpet, there's only one living practitioner po na marunong mag-weave. So plano nila ngayon, turuan yung yung mga youth nila para ma-revive po yung practice na yun, yung cultural practice ng mga Ubo Manubo na nandun po sa Magpet.
Sige lang. Dito muna. Congressman.
Thank you for the question. Yes, we implement inclusive education with IP education as one of the inclusive education programs ng DepEd. Kasama na dyan ang ALS at saka Madrasa Education Program, SNED, and other inclusion program in the Department of Education. And we take care always we take care always yung cultural sensitivity ng education initiatives natin. When we deliver that, top-bottom from central going up to the RO, across governance levels, up to the school level, ang delivery ng inclusive education program natin, specific sa IP education, is always culturally sensitive and aligned with the cultural practices ng bawat ICC or whatever ICC, indigenous cultural communities in our region. Now, how we take good care of those cultural considerations, sensitivity. In DepEd Region 12, we initiated the establishment and operation of what we call, this is a school-based version of the School of Living tradition because, attorney, that's a community-based. And in DepEd Region 12, we establish and support the operation of Cultural Heritage Learning Center. Insert this is CHLC. And for all 330 schools, we encourage them to establish this center as a learning space for our IP children, wherein we can invite IP elders, IP culture bearers, and or IP communities or the representative from the different ICC to join us. And as resource person, working with the teacher for the implementation of whatever culturally relevant and sensitive educational intervention for our learners. And this is basically involving our IP communities into the actual delivery of lessons. Halimbawa, si teacher ay hindi siya full-blooded na IP, cannot speak the language. Hindi siya kasi non-blaan siya or non-manobo. This is the opportunity for our teacher to invite our IP elders or culture bearers to join us in the actual delivery of the lessons, involving them as resource person. Kasi ang CHLC, basically, this is not just an exhibit center because this is a learning space for our IP learners. So our IP elders can join us in the actual delivery of the lessons that we consider culturally relevant, culturally sensitive. And then sa higher grade level, we encourage our senior high school, especially in areas where we have dominant IP, to establish a senior IP para senior high school for IP students natin, so we can give them the right micro skill, considering yung IKSP that they would like us to support, like halimbawa sa weaving and other skills. Yun. That's part of the program.
TESDA.
Yes. For TESDA, it integrates traditional knowledge and craft into its curriculum while providing modern skills, technology, and market access to ensure cultural preservation alongside economic sustainability. Sa totoo lang, last Monday, we visited the 3 awardee, no? Yung sa Gamaba, yung sa Lake Cebu, or yung Gawad sa Manlilika ng Bayan, yung na-mention ni Director. So we visited them because they are part of the curriculum that TESDA is now yung ginagawa, no? Actually, we have already a cultural training regulation such as backstrap weaving, upright weaving, loom weaving, pottery, beads, and many more cultural-related programs. So sabi ko nga last Monday, they are part, no, as the expert, no, in promulgating our curriculum, in promulgating our training regulations. So since they are part, they are yung mga parang mga matatanda na nila, that means to say whatever the traditions, cultures, isinasama pa rin doon so that hindi siya mawawala or only ma-preserve, no? So yun nga, sabi nga natin, merong 3 Gamaba sa Lake Cebu which was awarded sa central office namin from textile, chanting, as well as yung brass making. So pinuntahan namin sila sa kanilang bahay at nakita na talaga namin sila kung paano sila mag-weave, no? mag-weave, paano sila gumawa yung brass. So nandyan sila sa Lake Cebu, no? So walang worries, no? Kasi nga even we are having the modern skills training pero still with preservation of indigenous craft as well as with their traditions. Thank you.
Last quick rejoinder lang po. For the higher education sector naman po, we have issuances, no, specifically CHED memorandum orders, enjoining higher education institution to integrate indigenous people's education and studies in their respective curricula. That means they are able to have better appreciation on the life and the culture and even the identity of our IP community. At the same time, of course, wala naman sigurong issue in terms of the inclusive education and the preservation of the community because our goal here is to empower IP without losing their own identities.
Check. We have last 2 questions na lang po. Sige, go.
Good afternoon, panelists. I'm Ron Valdivieso from Big News National. Our question is from Chad. What is the opportunities are available for the indigenous youth who want to pursue the higher education?
Sige po. Thank you so much, sir, sa question. So as mentioned earlier, regarding the programs na meron po tayo on the scholarship, under the UNIFAS, the Tertiary Education Subsidy, in which one of the priority list po natin are the listahanan from DSWD, the 4Ps, no, and the PNSL. So under the regular scholarship program naman po, we have the CHED Merit Scholarship Program, in which this is based on the grades and the income of the parents. And if under special group po tayo, including the IP, meron po tayong additional na 5 points. At the same time, na-mention kanina na Secretary on the equivalency, no? So we have the ETIA program. So this is the RA1, wait. We have the ETIA program under the RA12124. No, so this is the expanded tertiary education equivalency and accreditation program. So this will directly address the poverty caused by educational exclusion and uninterrupted schooling. So this learning occurs not just beyond the formal classroom. So tama po yun. Kinikredit po natin yung experience, yung skills, even the community knowledge of our potential students, no, for it to be credited on the bachelor's degree and even the master's degree program. Yung responsibility ngayon ni CHED is to ensure that there are deputized institutions who can cater applicants. No? So we are empowering potential institutions in the region para po mas dumami yung options and scope ng mga possible na applicants natin on the ETIA. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Last question.
Good noon, Grace Toreta from NDBC, Happy FM, and Radyo Bida Coronadal. May nakalaan po bang pondo o long-term plan ang NAPSI upang matiyak na sustainable ang inclusive education initiatives sa mga IP communities?
This is included in our National Poverty Reduction Plan. And one of the component of that National Poverty Reduction Plan ay yung relevant and quality education. NAPSI is a policy coordination and advocacy agency. We are not implementing agency, but the NAPSI member agencies are the implementing agencies. Sino-sino itong implementing agencies na ito na may pondo at merong sustainable long-term plan? Ang DepEd merong Basic Education Development Plan. Ang CHED merong Higher Education Development Plan. Ang TESDA ay merong Technical Education Skills Development Plan. At ito ay merong corresponding budget projection na inihahain during General Appropriation Act processing, no? Yung budget processing annually. So nakalatag na ito mga usually mga 5 years to 10 years development plan. So itong tatlong ahensya natin na nandito na nakatuon sa education ay meron na silang kanilang sustainable and long-term development plans.
Lastly na lang po, ma'am and sir, ano po yung ginagawa natin para maiwasan na ang inclusive education programs ay magamit bilang compliance requirement lang at hindi tunay na instrumento ng empowerment?
Alam mo, I'm sure yung education, sabi nga ni attorney kanina, this is the greater equalizer, no? Pagka ito ginamit mo lang for compliance, pag natuto yung ginamit mo, baka ito magbumirang sa gumamit, no? Kasi natuto na alam na niya magdesisyon. The three agencies are developing critical thinking. And pagka na-develop mo yung critical thinking na yan, kung gusto mo lang yan gamitin, baka bandang huli sa iyo yan babalik.
Sige, thank you very much. Wala na tayong questions from our media friends. Before we end, closing statements na lang po. Let's start with DepEd. Pag ano naman tayo.
Maraming salamat sa ating convener, Secretary Santos, sir, for organizing this kind of forum wherein we discuss policy or especially for indigenous cultural communities for the IPs. And for inclusive education, we work 24/7 to ensure we deliver quality education, equitable education for our indigenous people's education for the IP learners in the region.
Thank you very much. NCIP.
As the Director of NCIP po na Region 12 mo, tama po yun. We will always, sabi nga po, napansin niyo sinasabi ni Sir Secretary kanina ba, hindi po kami, we are not an education office. Hindi po. Kaya nga sinabi ko po kanina, educational assistance lang po talaga yung kaya naming ibigay. And sometimes, more often than not, it's not enough. Yung 10,000 po or currently 12,500, hindi po enough. But we believe po na yung maliit na tulong na yun will have an impact dun sa bata po na tinutulungan and at saka yung sa immediate family niya and hopefully sa entire community po niya. As a matter of fact po, yung iya po, yun po yung pinakamalaki namin na budget. It gets the lion's share of our budget. Marami na pong mga estudyante na natulungan, marami na po ang mga estudyante na napag-aral, and meron din po kaming assistance sa board, particularly sa education po kapag may mga ganyan po. So yun po yun. Sa NCIP, we are doing our best. Pero in as much as budget is not infinite, marami po talaga mga estudyante na hindi talaga namin kayang tulungan. That's why we are engaging other partners in order to democratize po itong opportunity to study.
Sige po, from the Commission on Higher Education, we reiterate our gratitude to the NAPSI, of course, kay Secretary, and congratulations to the rest of the team now for the successful conduct of this activity. So again, this reflects our commitment. No, this is not just for compliance. This is for our commitment po, and we see the value of conducting this interagency forum and dialogue for us also to ensure that our IP community is visible and they are really part of uplifting the community. Because earlier we are talking about the whole of nations approach or the whole of government approach, and this must include the grassroots levels. At the same time, more than that, we are also having our commitment on the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, for instance, on higher education, we will not just be focusing now on SDG 4 on quality education, but we will also take into consideration different SDGs, including SDG 1 and 2 on zero hunger and no poverty, on SDG 8 on economic development, and on SDG 10 din po on the reduced inequalities. So yun po yung magiging commitment namin as an organization, and we hope that this dialogue today will not just end in this table, but this will explore to many more opportunities, especially on the identification of the challenges that we need to resolve, no, as a group. Kasi po, sabi nga nila, hindi natin ito kaya kung tayo lang. So we need to have partners in the academe and the government institutions as well. So from the Commission on Higher Education, once again, maraming salamat po, and we hope to see you more in the future engagements that we will be having. Thank you po.
Once again, thank you so much, no? Now I know kung bakit ako pinadala rito. Kasi po, graduate din po ako ng secondary education, no? Kaya pala, related naman pala talaga sa education. Mga teachers din po kami lahat. So, daghang salamat, no, sa pag-imbita sa MOA. Tuloy-tuloy lang po ang aming serbisyo, no, para sa communities. Kaya isa lang aming sinasabi, sa TESDA, kapag sama-sama, kayang-kaya. Thank you. Yun lang.
Gosh. Ma'am Ana. Ma'am Ana, ikaw.
And again, thank you very much, our panel of experts here and our friends and partners in the media. And of course, the PAA. Always, we'd like to strengthen more this partnership and convergence. Kami sa National Anti-Poverty Commission, we are committed to this collaboration, and talakayan sa 12, padayon.
Maraming salamat sa ating mga guest from TESDA, CHED, NCIP, at saka sa DepEd. No? Nagpapasalamat po tayo, lalo na sa Philippine Information Agency, dito sa ating unang talakayan sa 12. At yung ating unang topic ay edukasyon, empowering the indigenous peoples sa communities. Inaasahan po natin, ang objective natin na ipaalam ang mga programa ng ating pamahalaan, ng ating mga stakeholders sa publiko, at inaasahan po namin ang ating mga kapartners sa media na tulungan kami na ibahagi ang mga impormasyong ito. Nauna ang edukasyon sa indigenous peoples, inaasahan natin ang mga susunod naman ay topic on agriculture, adequate food, kasama naman ang ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda. Susunod naman natin ang health, housing, at livelihood and job generation. So ito po ang inaasahan natin sa mga susunod na talakayan dito sa Region 12. Talakayan sa 12. Maraming salamat po.